I think that the one issue that myself as a scholar and as an individual probably sees as one of the most important things that as scholars of religion, and that is into human beings, human beings striving for awareness, that I think is really confronting us today, and probably has confronted human beings throughout history, is the willingness to challenge existing structures. I think this is what religious prophets throughout history have done. And I think that as scholars, we have to continue that tradition, not as prophets, but as much as challengers. Whenever you shake up something, there's a new settling. People who purify gold, purify by putting it in the fire. We can be purified as a culture by constantly working to burn off the chaff, constantly be working to break off those structures and those belief systems that imprison us all. And I think, unfortunately, many in the intellectual community today find it easier to go along with what is politically correct or what is ideologically correct with the contemporary power structures than to really challenge it. And so a lot of, and unfortunately, many otherwise intelligent people in the country today use an attack on individuals rather than an attack on ideas. And I think that in academia we need to challenge that. We really need to do that. And especially as scholars of religion, we need to emphasize the importance of allowing a diversity of thinking, allowing different ways of understanding things. We claim to. Those people who promote multiculturalism today say, we want to bring in everybody's cultural belief. The white male cultural belief, as if a white male culture exists. There's a white male cultural belief. We don't want that. We want to bring in other ways of thinking. And so I ask my colleagues and my students that bring up this idea, I say, okay, so then does that mean that we open up our society to the cultures of other people and to the practices of other people? And they say yes. So then I ask them, well, does that mean that a practice of polygamy, for example, should Muslims be allowed to marry several wives? Oh, and they go, no. Why not? Well, that part is wrong. And then I say, well, how about Egyptians that practice clitorectomy? And they go, no, well, that's wrong. So then I say, well, then what is right? Really what multiculturalism has been for many people is we will allow elements of all cultures, provided we agree with them. So in other words, multiculturalism is a facade. Really, it's provided you think like I think, you can practice your culture. And the things I disagree with, you can't practice. Too many of us as scholars buy into that. Too many of us as scholars buy into the illusion of rhetoric. And politicians use rhetoric all the time. Politicians run our country with rhetoric. Politicians determine so much of our life with rhetoric. As scholars, we need to break through rhetoric. We need to see rhetoric for what it is, and we need to really look at it. Can we be truly open to other ways of thinking? Should we be narrow as a society? Are there certain things that we are not going to allow? Well, first of all, I have no problem with that. I have no problem with values. But let's be honest about it. Let's be square in saying, where are these values coming from? Which values are we going to adhere? And acknowledge that there are certain values we are not going to. And then don't pretend to be multicultural. And simply say, we are all living together as a human race. Which values can we hold on to? Which values seem to help promote a unification and a practice of compassion and a practice of equal opportunity within that? Because equality and liberty are actually very different concepts. To the extent that I am free to oppress you, to that extent we are not equal. True equality also means oppression. It means I cannot be better than you, nor can you be better than me. Kurt Vonnegut wrote a wonderful story about that years ago. I think it's in a series of short stories called, in a book called Welcome to the Monkey House. I think that's the name of it, and there's a wonderful story in there about this. And I think these issues, that what does equality mean? We have to rethink the concept of equality. Is equality and equal opportunity the same? Is multiculturalism and having values the same? We need to address these issues seriously, and we need to think about them critically rather than simply accepting the current ideologically popular view and then putting down anyone else that suggests we have a dialogue. And that, to me, I think is one of the biggest problems in academia today. And I think as students of religion, since value systems come out of religion, I think that we need to really be on the forefront of bringing up these questions, whether it's gay marriage or abortion or multiculturalism, gun violence, animal rights. All of these have strongly religious preconceptions connected with them. And I think that it is our job as scholars to really rethink our stance on these. That doesn't mean to overturn contemporary beliefs, but to look at them, to help to understand them, and to understand if they are in fact relevant today. And if they are not, what then is relevant?